August 11th, 1 Samuel 1, Romans 1, Jeremiah 39, Psalm 13 and 14. We're going to go to 1 Samuel chapter 1. And this takes place in Ephraim. We've got a man named Elkanah. His two wives, one was Hannah and the other was Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. It says that this man used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to the Lord of hosts at Shiloh, where the two sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests of the Lord. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion because he loved her, though the Lord had closed her womb. Her rival used to provoke her grievously to irritate her because the Lord had closed her womb. So it went year by year. As often as she went to the house of the Lord, she used to provoke her. Therefore Hannah wept and would not eat. And Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? Why do you not eat? Why is your heart sad? Am I not more to you than 10 sons? Right? But there was a deep longing in her to have a child and have a son, and nothing Elkanah could say would make it right. And it's a good thing to learn. Right? Sometimes you can't fix it. There's deep hurt. There's deep sadness there. Yeah. And so, verse 9, after they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, Hannah arose, and Eli the priest was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of the Lord. She was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. And she vowed a vow and said, O Lord of hosts, if you indeed look on the afflictions of your servant and remember me, and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a son, and I'll give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head. As she continued praying before the Lord, Eli observed her mouth. Hannah was speaking in her heart, only her lips moved, her voice was not heard. Therefore Eli took her to be a drunken woman, and he said to her, How long will you go on being drunk? Put your wine away from you. Verse 15, Hannah answered, No, my Lord, I'm a woman troubled in spirit. I've drunk neither wine nor strong drink, but I've been pouring out my soul before the Lord. Do not regard your servant as a worthless woman, for all along I've been speaking out of my great anxiety and vexation. And Eli answered, Go in peace, and the God of Israel grant your petition that you have made to him. And she said, Let your servant find favor in your eyes. And the woman went away and ate, and her face was no longer sad. Why? Because she took time. Right? It says that she was in her distress. She called out to the Lord. It's not that she hadn't been doing that, probably year in, year out, day in, day out, but this time it's highlighted for us in a different way. There's a different urgency to it, perhaps, a different emotion for it. It caused Eli to notice and to think, wow, just another drunk. She's like, no, it's not that. I'm just pouring out my soul before the Lord. What a place to be. What a point in life to come to, where you just pour out your soul before the Lord. You abandon everything else. You just cry out to him. It's a good place to be. Verse 19, they rose early in the morning and worshipped for the Lord. They went back to their house at Ramah. And Elkanah knew Hannah his wife, and the Lord remembered her. In due time, Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Samuel, for she said, I have asked for him from the Lord. And then eventually the end of the chapter ends with Hannah bringing Samuel back to the temple, young Samuel. And she reminded Eli of that day. And the Lord has given me this son. So I've now lent him to the Lord. As long as he lives, he is lent to the Lord, and he worshipped the Lord there. He left him. You're like, what? Yeah, that's radical. But she kept her vow. God doesn't always work in that way, right? If you vow to the Lord, or, if you do this, I'll do that. What's more interesting in this message, in this story, is the heart of a woman crying out for God to intervene, to interrupt her life, to grant the desires of her heart. And in that, to see that it's not for her, but that one could be used by the Lord and for the Lord, dedicated to Him. It's just a fascinating little sequence of events that we're given a glimpse of. What are you really calling out to God for? Is it for yourself? Is it for more of something? Or is it just more so that God would be glorified? That in and through your life, God would do great things. Not so that you get a great name, but so that God's name is glorified. May that be our prayer today. Till next time, keep growing, little by little.